So Beto wants your guns because the gun is evil, not people. Good afternoon, it's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive. You didn't get a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday installment this week because I spent the weekend with my wife in Newport, Rhode Island, seeing our son who is a cadet at the Naval Prep Academy, getting ready for his appointment to Annapolis. Beautiful weekend. I'll tell you more about it some other time. I just love being surrounded by liberals and the bastion of the founding of America. It just absolutely just blows my mind that in an area that was, well, really become one of the de facto homes of the United States Navy is rich in our political, in our providential history of the founding of this country. In fact, I was astounded even by the number of liberal businesses that were flying the Betsy Ross flag. So as I said, I've got some interesting commentary to tell you about my recent trip to Newport, but we have to talk about Beto. Yes, Beto O'Rourke, the phony Latino, who just the other night during the third presidential debate had this to say about your Second Amendment rights.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
So he is he? That one's not going down easy. And you know why? Because it's part of our Bill of Rights. It is an inalienable right given to us, and we are now having a candidate who is openly not hinting that we need more gun control, not hinting about responsibility. He is outright saying, you do not have this right. Not because the Constitution doesn't grant it to you or give it to you, but he, by executive authority, is going to revoke that right and going to take what's not his. In other words, we're not only going to violate your Second Amendment right, we're going to violate your right of ownership, your right of private property. We are going to seize as a government what does not belong to us, and we're going to take it from you. Now, this sent shockwaves through the Democratic Party, in particular people like Nancy Botox Pelosi, Chuck E. Cheese Schumer, and the rest of that establishment hag group within the Democratic Party. So much so that Morning Schmuck, you know, Mr. Magoo, Morning Joe, over there on PMSNBC, well, he wanted Beto to have an opportunity to clarify that he was simply talking about, you know, like they have in Australia, a voluntary gun buyback. So they were giving him a chance to kind of walk it back from the, hell yes, we're going to take him. And, well, this is how that went down.
It will be voluntary. It won't be, hell yes, we'll come get your guns.
It's not voluntary. I want to make sure that we make the distinction here. It is mandatory. It will be the law. You will be required to comply with the law.
Oh, no, it's mandatory. It's mandatory. This is not voluntary. You will follow the law. You will surrender these firearms. Really? We're not breaking any laws by owning them. So you're going to change the laws through the legislative process? How long is that going to take? Oh, obviously too long. This is going to be some type of a crisis, right, Beto? So you're going to do this by what? Martial law declaration? By executive order? You're just going to make this happen? Really? You're just going to take the law into your own hands and interpret it your way? Really, Beto? That's how this is going down? Recently, he was doing a town hall in Aurora, Colorado. Now, on the one hand, you might be thinking, well, why are you covering this? Like 35, 40 people showed up for this things, and he stood on the steps. He wasn't even like actually inside a building. This was an actual real event. He's standing out on the steps, and, you know, people gathered, and, you know, why give this any credence? Well, I give it credence because even if it's not Beto, somebody within this Democratic sphere that could end up with the nomination might just actually pick up on this idea and run with it. You know, liberals love to manufacture crises, and then they love to be the solution to the crises they create, i.e., climate change. There's no real crisis there, but oh my word, there's a crisis, and we hear about it 24/7 on news cycles. And of course, it's all about how to erode and take away your rights. As I said, I spent the weekend with my son in a very liberal community, and even though my son, who's been a member of the U.S. military for 2 years and is now at NAPS, the Naval Academy Prep School for Annapolis, and he is, by, I guess, all definition, you would call him a conservative libertarian. Yet he's like, come on, Dad, you got to admit, there's climate change. There is. The data's all there. And if we've got to give up some of our rights and materialism to fix it, well, then that's what we need to do. And he doesn't even understand how the subtlety of what he said is an erosion of his own rights and liberty. It is a re-education that is taking place with our young people. And it's happening within institutions and frameworks that are not just, quote, the public schools, but American institutions are now really working at reprogramming, re-educating the masses, and they're doing it with our young people. Now, he is by no definition an extremist, alarmist, lunatic like AOC and that ilk over at the Green New Deal. But his comment to me was, well, hey, you know, there's really radical lunatics on the fringe right that go out there and, you know, protest and hate. And he wanted to mention, of course, Westboro Baptist Church and, you know, marching on homosexual funerals and standing out there, you know, God hates queers, God hates fags, and he's glad they're in hell. And, you know, Dad, you know, that real radical fringe, well, they got them on the right, well, we got them on the left too, and that doesn't mean that everybody that believes in climate change is an AOC nut. But we do look at science, we say, yeah, there's a problem. And part of that problem is, you know, if in San Francisco, hey, instead of having your own apartment, we want you to dormitory life. Yes, 30, 40-year-old people live in a dorm, have a bunk bed, share a living space with 8 other people. This is the way to save the planet. How long before something like, yeah, we really don't need our Second Amendment. We don't need that. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Kids are dying. Kids are dying. And so Democrats, libloons, they create and they manufacture these crises that they draw everybody in. And if you don't go along with the solution, you are looked at as racist, homophobe, intolerant, pro-death, pro-innocent blood. And so you don't want to be portrayed that way. And we seemingly have a generation now that doesn't have a backbone to stand up to this idiocracy. So we end up with really well-intentioned people coming up with some really horrible ideas that other people just go along with. And then we have really evil people coming up with really evil ideas, and again, well-meaning people think they somehow got to placate to it. So here's this event where 30 people show up, and Beto's spewing this crapola about his gun grab, and one woman steps up and just hits it out of the park.
Hello, thank you so much for taking my question. My name is Lynn, and I drove down here from Rifle, Colorado to speak with you today. I was one of the gun-owning Americans that heard your speech and heard what you had to say regarding hell yes, we're going to take your AR. AR-15s and your AR. And your
Let's be respectful. Let's be
47.
respectful.
Well, I am here to say hell no, you're not. So with that, I would like to know how you intend to legislate evil, because it is not the gun, it is the heart of the man that does that. We all have stories. Excuse me.
Let's allow her to finish, please.
We
Please.
can all have these stories. We all have the experiences. I was living in Aurora during Columbine. I had just recently moved when the Aurora shootings happened, yet I have very close ties here. Yet all of those people were there defenseless. They had no way to defend themselves against a crazed shooter. So I want to know how you intend to legislate the hearts of men and leave American citizens like myself, American mothers. I have 4 children. I'm 5'0", 100 pounds. Cannot really defend myself with a fist.
It's okay. Please let's allow her to finish.
I don't have my AR-15 today. I have my Glock. Well, you shouldn't have it. Don't worry, sir. I have your back. Anyway, I want to know how you're going to legislate that, because a criminal, by defense, breaks the law. So all you're going to do is restrict law-abiding citizens like myself. We all know that you, sir, have a criminal history, and I understand that burglars do not like armed defense.
It's okay.
Yes, sir. Burglars do not like armed defense, yet that is a right that we have that shall not be infringed in America.
The age-old question: how are you going to regulate evil? How are you going to make people who, by definition, as criminals, break the law? By the way, don't you like her little put down? Well, the only reason you want guns is you can't buy one because you have a criminal record. Boom! It was a cheap shot, but it was a good shot. By definition, criminals break the law. So all you're doing is impeding, all you're doing is impairing, stopping the rights of the law-abiding. And then listen to what he says.
There's this presumption that we are just, I guess, inherently evil. Because you ask, how are we going to legislate this? And the 40,000 gun deaths in America, there just must be something wrong with us. Or gets back to this idea that I began my comments with: is this just our fate?
So Beto basically says here, hey, I refuse to accept this notion that there's evil intent, evil people. What? Really? But then again, I want to do something that I normally don't do here, but I'm going to go ahead and do it today. I'm going to invoke God's word into our discussion today. Yes, there I go again, ruining a perfectly good argument with facts. And I want you to hear these words out of Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 2. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart at his left. A wise man's heart is at his right. A fool's heart is at his left. Talk about the right versus left paradigm. So here's leftist Beto O'Rourke saying, quote, oh, it's not evil people. I'm not going to go there, that this is about evil people. This is about an evil law. This is about evil guns.
I refuse to accept that. This doesn't happen in any other country. There are 329 million of us. There are 390 million guns. No other country has this kind of ratio. No other country allows its citizens to buy weapons that were designed for war. And you probably know this as well as I do.
Hey, here's a little piece of news, Beto, and since you want to be the President of the United States, and one of the jobs of the President that he takes his oath on is to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, well, part of that Constitution within the Bill of Rights is the Second Amendment. You do know why we have the Second Amendment, right, Beto? It isn't to ensure your right to go rabbit hunting, skeet shooting. Take your kids on out to the country to Grandpa's house with a .22 single-shot rifle to, knock soda cans off of split rail fences in the backyard. The Second Amendment was given as a right for the people, that would be me and you, the citizens, to defend ourselves. And not just from would-be intruders or burglars, but from a tyrannical government. How do you defend yourself against a tyrannical government that's armed better than you? Number two, you can cite all you want the statistics of these European nations, they are armed the same way that the military and the police are. And study their history. How many civil wars have those countries been through? How many times have they been conquered and subjugated by the powers that be within their military establishments? How many times have they not been able to fight back against tyrannical regimes? Case in point, we could talk about Nazi Germany, but that's an easy go-to. Those people couldn't fight back against Hitler if they had wanted to, because one of the first things Hitler did when he came to power was gun control. First, you register your firearms so we know where they are. Now we're going to come get them because we know where they are. And by the way, Nazi Germany used all the same scare tactics, the death of innocent people over people who don't know how to properly care for and respect what it means to own a firearm, and they're out there just doing violence on people. You want to live safely, don't you? So they create a crisis, get everybody afraid, and then they surrender their rights to be safe. I want to be safe. Okay. That said, what about China? Students take to the streets and they march and they protest. They finally have enough. And then the military crushes it. Could anybody in North Korea actually stand up to Kim Jong-un? Nope. They're not armed. They can't. That's why the framers of our government and Constitution gave us the Second Amendment to fight against a tyrannical, controlling, takeover government. Some of the byproduct benefits of that is, we can be sportsmen and go hunting, we can go target practicing, we can shoot skeet, shoot soda cans, and yes, we can protect ourselves from would-be muggers, attackers, and robbers. But that's not the main reason why we were given the Second Amendment. Who was it that beat the British? Oh yeah. Armed private citizens stood up to the British Army. And there you have it. Beto, and mark it down, whether or not he gets a nomination is irrelevant. What he's saying is going to start bolstering the other, as the Bible says, leftist fools running for the presidency. It's going to embolden them to now basically say, out in the open, no longer hiding from it, embracing, advocating, and promoting, hell yes, we're going to take them. Let me translate that. Hell yes, we're going to take your Second Amendment, your constitutional freedom. We are taking it. Is that really who and what you want to be the next president of the United States? Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much. Hey, thank you for helping us spread the word. I really do appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. I do read them, and I do respond.